Hello there ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? It's Alexander Hilly123 here and it's time for a new video. And as you can see from the title, today's video is me just discussing the two Resident Evil 2 remake trailers we've seen so far and the demo, the little gameplay demo we saw at E3 as well just last night. Now I've got to say straight off the bat here that initially I wasn't that impressed and I was a little bit worried that they've ruined it. But then I watched the second trailer and all my fears had ultimately gone away. I don't know why they chose to do the rat trailer, you know, where the rat's at the beginning and Leon comes in, shoots the zombie in the head. The second trailer, if you haven't seen it, is a lot better. I'm going to put it in the drop-down menu. It shows Raccoon City late at night, early doors, and it shows you a little bit more of Mr. X especially and other things. And I think they went with the first trailer instead of the second because it doesn't give the game away straight away as to what it is, where the second trailer does. But yet and still, I think it was more impactful, the second trailer. It's absolutely brilliant. I can't stop talking about it. Just watch it if you haven't already. Hopefully you'll know what I mean. Well, I guess some people might prefer the first. But nevertheless, it doesn't really matter. What does matter is that the game looks pretty damn cool. Now, we're 7.5 months away from the release date. So I'm going to try and stay away as much as I can. Not go on the forums, not find new gameplay. There's Tokyo Game Show coming up, the PlayStation Experience in December, other such things as well, where we're going to have more like spoilers out there. I don't want to know about them. I don't want to see that much of the game. I want it to be a surprise by the first time I play the game. And you might say, well, it's a remake, Alex, you know what's coming up. Not necessarily, ladies and gentlemen, because apparently this is going to be 80% brand new material. Now, if you think of especially Resident Evil 3, that's my favourite Resident Evil personally. Think of all those shops in the urban area of the game before you get back to the police station that you can't go in. Apparently with 2, they're going to be doing it so that you can go in those shops. Maybe for a bit of extra supplies and shit. I'm not sure. But places that were cut off in the the actual original Resident Evil 2 are now going to be available to get into, and that's really exciting. As well as just fresh, brand new areas. Now, if you don't know, the original remake, the original game on the GameCube and on all modern consoles, now Xbox One, PS4, etc., that was 70-30, so only 30% was new, and I thought that that balance was absolutely spot on and perfect. Now, if they had gone with a purely pre-rendered graphics and tank control style game, I think they would have followed that blueprint as well. But the reason I think they haven't, and the reason that it's 80% new, 20% old, is because it's in a third-person, over-the-shoulder camera perspective. Now, initially I did want tank controls and pre-rendered graphics, but I'm a huge fan of The Last of Us, I'm a huge fan of the Dead Space games, I'm a huge fan of The Evil Within, and I'm a huge fan of Resident Evil 4. Since Resident Evil 4, though, I don't think any of the third-person Resident Evil games have been great. I think they've been good at best, or average, or bad. Good, Revelations 2. Resi 5 is a good, fun game. I especially like the DLCs. Resi 6 was diabolical, and it's a joke. That's my opinion. But Resident Evil 4 is a masterpiece, and it's amazing, and it's third person. And I love third person games. I'm just happy that it's not first person. I don't hate Resident Evil 7, but I certainly don't love it, and I don't find it that replayable either. I don't find myself going back to it. The game's got atmosphere, it's got a lot of classic Resi tropes, such as backtracking and puzzles, but yet and still something was missing. And I think that something was mainly the zombies, and mainly the enemies. There were that four-legged moulded was like a licker, but really it wasn't, because the licker, the whole genius behind the idea of the licker is that it's blind, and it's got all sorts of different attacks, whereas that four-legged moulded was just like a leaper off Dead Space. It just jumps at you, it's retarded, it's difficult, and it's annoying. And the moulded, I think they've done that for too long now. The Resident Evil creators. We saw these with Ouroboros, and I think that's kind of what they've based it on, and it's just getting a bit dull. They're boring enemies, and I'm sick of them. Yet and still, I think, you know, going off on a tangent here, that Capcom are going to continue the main series in a first-person perspective with Resident Evil 8. And yet and still, despite me not loving the 7th game, I will be on board, and of course, I will play it. Got to say, Resident Evil 7, the jump scares and the atmosphere and the general scares were on point. They were really good. But Resident Evil 2, ladies and gentlemen, drop down menu, drop down box again, like I say. Watch the gameplay that I've linked, and you'll notice that when the person playing the game, and I don't know who was playing it because they were fucking terrible, but when they nail a headshot, the enemies, the zombies, lean back like that, so they don't just tank the headshot and keep attacking you, which is annoying. They're very slow and plodding, yet dangerous if they get you, and that is how zombies should be. And we've never really seen it done properly in a third-person perspective, because all those games I referenced before, the enemies are fast and dangerous, whereas zombies are slow and dangerous. I remember Resident Evil 3, my favourite Resi. What that game did was, if there were a pack of zombies, there would be one that was a runner, and the rest would be dawdling and slow. And I hope they do something along those lines, because you've got to give that zombie preferential treatment, blast out the shotgun maybe, leave the handgun to the rest. Things like that. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, how can we make them fun to kill, dangerous, but they've got to be slow and plodding, because at the end of the day they're zombies. And from the demo we've seen, the physics of them look right. Like I say, there's a lot of variance to them. They look beautiful in a morbid way, you know what I mean by that. And they look satisfying to kill. Can't wait to see how they're going to react to gunshots though, because in the original game, when you shot them with a shotgun, sometimes they just split in half and the torso was crawling around the ground. That was fucking ace. They're going to be able to grab you when they're on the floor as well. That's going to be annoying. Are defensive items going to be in the game? I don't know. There are so many questions for us huge Resident Evil fans, ladies and gentlemen. I'm worried, I'm cautious, but I am optimistic overall. It's just going to be a case of, can we trust them with the 80% of a new game? I wouldn't be surprised if that is slightly exaggerated, but yet and still, without a shadow of a doubt, there are going to be a lot of new areas here. And that is where some people might be like, oh, this isn't seeming like a remake now. And I think it'll catch some people off guard. I think a lot of people think they're going to just get the game as it was 20 years ago with modern graphics. That isn't what it's going to be like. There's going to be a lot of new shit going down. There's even new enemies, ladies and gentlemen, alongside the giant spiders, the crows, and lickers, of course. So very exciting. William Birkin. We've got to have Annette. We're going to, I believe, see a lot more of Mr. Mervyn Branner. Is he going to die by the end, or are they actually going to keep him alive? They did that with a remake, though. They made us think that Richard was going to survive, and then he gets killed anyway. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm very excited to see what kind of guns we get. I'm guessing Claire's going to have a rocket launcher, Leon the Magnum, or maybe there'll be a few new weapons either way. The thing that makes me happy most of all is they've said it's a survival horror game and it's not a shooter. And I was just really anticipating them not to do it in a third person perspective, because too much gunplay can leave people either feeling bored if the gunplay is not good enough, or that it's a pure shooter. Or if there's not enough gunplay, it's just flat out dull. And what stops it from being dull? The old Resi games, in my opinion. The backtracking, which is controversial, but I don't mind it. It's part of the whole experience. If you don't like backtracking, I don't think you can like old school Resi. And the puzzles. Now, the puzzles don't have to be Albert Einstein levels here, ladies and gentlemen. They just have to be the kind of puzzles that get you from point A to B to C, move you around the map, and give you a reason for doing it. Combining certain items. And a lot of them are simplistic, but I like them regardless. And it shows that developers have actually given some thought into the game. I think overall, when this drops in 7.5 months, I'm going to be happy with it. I don't think it's going to have the replayability of some of my other favourite modern survival horror games, but who knows. The reason I say that is because with all these kind of games that I've been referencing, like Dead Space, Evil Within, you've got your stasis, you've got your matches mechanic, there's something else. And in Remake, for example, you burn the bodies with a kerosene. Is there going to be another mechanic to allow us to kill enemies? I think the defensive items would be a good idea. You know, with the flash grenades, put it in the mouth, go back, boom, headshot. Or just the knives, and if you then blow the head off, you can get the knife back. Brilliant idea. Something that helps you conserve ammo. But there's still so much I could say, ladies and gentlemen. There's still a lot I've not touched upon. Not that much said about Mr. X. Not that much said about whether we're going to see any kind of inkling of Resident Evil 3. Because Resi 3, if you don't know, initially takes place before Resident Evil 2. before Jill gets poisoned, and then it's after, you see. Because my favourite Resi is 3, and can you imagine Nemesis? It was these graphics! Unbelievable. I think as soon as the game's released, within not even months, within weeks of the game being released next January, if it does well among gaming journalists and if it sells relatively well, because unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, it's a dirty industry and it's run by money, and that is the most important thing. If they can make money off it, I think we'll see Resident Evil 3 remade on the same engine in exactly the same way. We're not going to get that same aspect of surprise, but people are clamouring for it. You know, Nemesis, and the fact that Resident Evil 3, in my opinion, is a masterpiece as well. Most people would say the second game is better than the third. I personally differ. I think the third game is slightly better because I think it's harder, and I love the gunpowder aspect of the game and the RNG that it has as well with the decisions that you can make. But anyway, I'm waffling now, but this is a good time to be a Resident Evil fan. Before 7, it wasn't. And after 6, it was like, it's only going to get worse from here. Yet they've proven us wrong. We've now got a new trajectory in the main series, the Revelations games, and you know, Resident Evil 2, and hopefully 3 being made as well. So I'll leave it here. Give me your thoughts in the comments, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.